Okay, so now that you have gone through the Blackboard orientation video, we'll go ahead and take a look at the syllabus for this course. So once again, I just wanted to welcome you to this class, and I look forward to a good semester together. And I'm really excited to see what kinds of research you all are working on. So as I said before, my name is Dr. Kulkarni, or Dr. K for short. And again, here's all my contact information for this class. If you have any questions, again, email is typically the best way to reach me. However, I'm also available by phone or by office hours. So let's go ahead and take a look at the different requirements for this course. So GED 500 is one of the required core courses in the master's program in education. It's really designed to support students and reading, understanding, evaluating, and synthesizing the research in education. And additionally, students in this class are really working towards the development of a research proposal. So for some of you, this may be a little bit redundant. However, it sometimes is a good idea to go back to the basics and see if you can really understand and answer some of the questions about your research problem and research questions and the design of your study that make it such that it makes sense to, another pair of eyes. So hopefully for those of you who are further along, this will be an opportunity to get some more critical feedback on your study as it is in its current form. And for those of you who've never taken an education master's course, this will be a good foundational course that will hopefully guide the rest of your time in the master's program at DH. So with that, the textbook, as I said before, should be accessed through the Pearson eText. And again, you'll want to use these two codes. You'll want to use the course code here, as well as the password GED 500 when you're prompted to. In terms of expectations for students, this, I just list a Bloom's taxonomy of cognitive skills. Really speaking, when you're thinking about research, you're thinking about the evaluation, the synthesizing, analysis, application, comprehension, and knowledge. These are some of the skills involved in doing educational research. So really speaking, our assignments are going to map on very well to some of these higher order skills that you'll need for educational research, such as the article critique that we'll be doing, which will evaluate educational research, or things like your research proposal, where you'll be synthesizing and analyzing research. So that sort of maps on very well to the type of information you'll need to know when doing this type of work. In terms of academic integrity, just an aside that you obviously want to submit work that is your own work and that is not plagiarized, and that reflects the work that you would do as an individual student. So just, keep that in mind going forward. And, obviously, I don't believe that would be a problem for any of the students in this course. You are at a stage where some of these expectations, and you're also, working towards a higher education degree. So, I do expect great things from you all, and that you're not the type of students who are going to be plagiarizing work. In terms of technology, you are going to be expected to access Blackboard, as you saw from the orientation video. You should also be checking your Toro mail, or the email address that's associated with your registration. So if I do communicate things like the textbook issues or anything like that, that way you're staying informed about, announcements and anything else that's happening. If you have any trouble with technology, or if there's some issues that pop up throughout the course session here, please feel free to just email me. It's, as I said, I'm pretty good about checking email, and I'm happy to answer any questions that you might have. And that also goes for this next section with, the ADA. I, obviously am cognizant of different needs and access issues that may arise, and I'm going to do my very best on my side to make the courses accommodating and, provide the types of modifications that students may need to successfully complete this course. So with that said, though, if you do have any recommendations or issues that come up, and you also have paperwork from the Disabled Student Services or anything like that, please be pertinent about giving me that information as soon as possible, just so that I know how to help you succeed in the course to the best extent possible. Okay. They have a number here too. If you're not sure if you might need some extra accommodations, you're welcome to also check it out. The conceptual framework for College of Ed will be posted in Blackboard this evening. The course objectives are listed here. And again, most of our goals for this class, such as, really understanding educational research, as well as understanding the, ethics involved in participant research and education, as well as different designs of research and the ways in which to conduct a study, are really going to map on pretty well to the types of assignments that you'll see happening in the course, such as the PowerPoint quizzes, weekly reflections. You will be, completing a research proposal in designated sections. So all of these things hopefully should be really helpful to get you started with research if you are at that beginning stage, and to provide you some additional feedback if you are sort of at that end stage of your program. So in terms of the assignments, as I said before, all assignments are due by Friday night, 11:59 p.m. That's the final deadline for all assignments. If your assignments are going to require commenting, like the reading reflections or, the e-presentations where you're giving feedback to a peer, it is your responsibility to comment prior to the deadline. So you need to make arrangements to comment before 11:59 p.m. on the Friday. I won't be accepting late comments. Oh, I forgot to do it. No, sorry. Like that's not kind of how it works with me. I'm pretty firm on the deadlines. If there are extenuating circumstances or anything else that comes up, I do need you to do me a favor and give me a heads up as soon as possible for that. It is important that I know ahead of time if there's something really, really serious happening, and that will really help me and also help you in terms of your grades in the course. So please, be mindful of that, and also be mindful of the piece about commenting or giving feedback to a peer. So just a breakdown of the way that you're going to be graded in this class. The first is you're going to do the weekly reflections as you saw on Blackboard. So each of these is 5 points. There are 6 weeks in this course, so that's a 30-point total for that part of your grade. Additionally, you have the PowerPoint quizzes, which are short, small quizzes, 5 points each. For 6 weeks, again, 30 points total. Then you have a critique of a journal article, which we'll be talking about more in the upcoming weeks, but that will be worth 40 points of your grade. Then you'll also have progress towards your research proposal. So intermittently, we're going to be working on the different sections of a research proposal, and each week your complete total will be for 10 points. So that's 60 points of your grade. Then there's also the final research proposal, which is the majority of your grade. So this is the one that's the critical piece. So as you're working towards your research proposal, it is really imperative that you put in your best efforts, make sure everything is in on time, because that way you're going to be working towards your final project here in this class. As well as, the last piece, which is a e-presentation. and then a peer evaluation of the presentation. So, you'll have an opportunity to use some technology and actually present and have, feedback from some of your peers. And especially for those of you who are a little bit later in the game, who are at the late stages of your master's thesis, this will be really critical for you to give you, the type of feedback that you'll need going forward for the end of your program. So as you can see, our total is out of 300 points, and this is our grading breakdown for you. So here's what our schedule basically is going to look like. In the first week, we're going to read the first 2 chapters. You're going to start thinking about your introduction and problem statement, which is what the first 2 chapters will cover in Creswell. You will post your introduction to Blackboard, and then you're also going to take the PowerPoint quiz number 1 and turn in your written reflection. And again, with the written reflection, don't forget to comment on somebody else's so that you're giving feedback to your peers. And that's sort of how all of our weeks are going to run. So as you can see, there's a set of readings for each week, and then there are PowerPoint quizzes and different sections of your paper that are going to be required. In terms of the reflections, some weeks are going to be very straightforward, just synthesizing of the reading material and then trying to think about, how you can apply some of the material into your own thesis project or research project. But some weeks will be a little bit more activity-based. So if you've looked ahead to week 3 on Blackboard, you will be creating an account for an academic website where you'll kind of find, scholarly authors in education that might map onto your research area. So some of these activities are going to just kind of jumpstart your thinking a little bit about research and connect you to some people in the field that you're interested in going into. So hopefully those are helpful to you as well. So we'll go through those 6 weeks like that. And then here's just sort of afterwards a breakdown of what the assignments look like. So again, your weekly reflection is only 1 to 2 pages. You're going to answer the prompt that's located on Blackboard and how you plan to incorporate the material into your own research. So those are the 2 key pieces there. So again, you post it into the discussion board in Blackboard, and then you choose somebody to give some feedback to. Really speaking, you're reading the section B. So again, that section B, I'll highlight it up here. That's what you're going to be reading for somebody else. You want to see how the person is going to incorporate the feedback into their own master's thesis or project. After you give them feedback, be constructive, not overly critical or mean. Hopefully I don't have to put any notices up with this group about, some inappropriate commenting in our site. But again, I'm going to be overseeing how things look, and then we'll kind of go from there. But really speaking, you want to be respectful of your peers, try not to be super critical or mean, and just look at, how well you think they incorporated the reading into their idea, and, kind of give them some feedback on some ideas that they're playing around with. Oh, if you were thinking of doing research on autism, maybe you could look into this particular angle, something like that. I don't want people to give feedback such as, like, you did a great job. That doesn't really give the person a whole lot to work with. So try to be as specific as possible when you think about feedback. And that really makes a difference, I believe, for the person's work as they're going forward and like trying to design a study. And you're gonna, again, graded 5 points. The checklist is here, basically, did you include both the parts that you're supposed to include, the summary plus the, incorporation for those that require it? Did you post it to the discussion board like you were supposed to? And then did you provide a respectful and constructive commentary for a peer? Those are really the 3 key pieces to the weekly reflections. PowerPoint quizzes are, as I said, going to be in the Pearson eText. You basically will have an assignment listed for each week, and you'll go and do the quiz, you'll save it, and then you'll post it under the assignments tab for that week, just like I showed you in Blackboard. Usually there's 10 questions for each quiz, so each question is just half a point. So it's not too high stakes. But again, you just want to try to be as, thoughtful as you can with your quiz questions, just so that, it shows that you're understanding what you've gone through and read. And again, if you receive a score of a 0, if you didn't get any of the questions right, I will give you half credit if you are willing to kind of put in the time to, sort of rethink what might have gone wrong. How did you come up with an answer that may not have been the answer that was, most appropriate? So I'm happy to give you back some credit for that. The article critique assignment, I will provide you a sample as well as a sample article just to give you an idea of what this looks like. This will be available in the assignments tab fairly shortly, within the next week or so. And you'll basically start by, creating the citation for the article. Then you're going to look at the introduction section if there is one. You look at the methods. You'll read to look at for threats to validity if it's a quantitative article. If it's a qualitative article, you'll see kind of what the design was and how they maintain trustworthiness and reliability. And then you're going to turn in your critique with thinking about sort of how they could have done it differently, what was done well, what was not done so well. And again, we're going to talk more about this in the coming weeks so that you have a more specific idea of how this needs to be put together. But just for now, here's kind of a breakdown of what the formatting is going to look like for it. Your research proposal assignment is the biggest assignment, as I said, for this class. So for that, you really want to think about these different components, right? So you have a topic that you're going to be working towards, and you're going to have a couple of different sections for that topic. It's going to be a total of 5 to 6 pages and some APA formatting, as well as some referencing, as well as a title page that lists, the title of your study that you're interested in conducting, your university name, your, course number, as well as your name. And then, obviously the formatting is going to follow what we use in educational research, which is APA formatting, and everything that goes with that. And so, the Creswell book that you have for your e-text is going to give you a very nice and detailed description of how to do each of these sections. So the first 2 chapters that you read are really going to focus on that problem statement, as well as, kind of drafting an introduction. And then we'll kind of move into things like statement of purpose, your hypothesis or your research questions, depending on the type of study you do. And then from there, move into, what kinds of things have already been done in the area that you're interested in. So that's what the literature review is here. So it'll talk about, what's already been done in the field that you're interested in. So if you're interested in autism, it'll look at, okay, so what sorts of behavioral research have been done in autism, before your study came about, or before you asked your questions. What kinds of questions were asked before? What types of research was done before? And so you're going to take about 5 peer-reviewed articles, and you're going to do a synthesis and an evaluation, and really combine these articles into a review of what literature is already out there on your topic. The methodology is basically what you're going to do with your study. So some people want to, do a survey of the types of resources that special education teachers receive in their teacher training programs. So if they did that, for instance, then they would collect quantitative data and they would list the tool as a survey. and then how they'd analyze it is using statistics. So that would be an example of that. There are multiple ways of collecting data, and really speaking, this methodology is going to link back to your research questions. So we'll talk in the coming weeks about how to pick questions and how to pick methodology that best maps onto a particular type of question. And lastly, there's the reference page, which is probably going to be about a half a page to a page in length, just depending on how many sources you decide to use. Obviously, you have to have 5 minimum. There may be more that you want to use to kind of beef up your methodology or other sections. So we'll go into, how to pick, sources that are the best for your particular paper. And then I just provided you the rubric for how we grade that particular assignment. The e-presentation, you have 2 choices to present your research proposal, essentially. You can either upload a copy of some sort of PowerPoint that you create, and then just another file, which is an audio file of you talking through your PowerPoint. And you can do that, or you can have somebody, a friend, a relative, somebody just videotape you doing it in person. So then, we follow along with the slides, and then you just kind of go through them, kind of on a video. The sections you should cover in your presentation. You should tell us what problem it is that you're researching, what questions you're trying to answer, and then give us a list of maybe like 1 or 2 research articles in your area and what they found in relation to your topic. And then kind of an overall breakdown of what your plan is, going forward. If you're at the beginning stage, you may want to create like a timeline that shows me, like, oh, here's where I'm starting, here's my research proposal, and then this is where I plan to collect my data and how I plan to do the study. And so it gives you a more concrete idea of, the different steps involved. If you're at the end of your program, you may have a shorter timeline, but you nonetheless need a timeline to, sort of guide you towards the finish line. So either way, a timeline is a useful exercise, especially as you're going through the process. And then the last thing here, you're going to be reviewing the presentation of a peer. So after the last class, you're going to go into the presentation assignments, and you'll see, everybody is uploading their particular one. You can choose somebody's and give them some feedback. And really the feedback is just a 1-page document, double-spaced, asking 2 questions that are really extending the presentation's content and giving an overall evaluation of the person. Using that rubric that I just showed. So you'll also fill out a rubric for somebody else on the presentation rubric as well. So hopefully that kind of clarifies the assignments that you have for this class. And if you have any other questions that come up during the course of this week or further into the semester, again, please feel free to email me. And I look forward to going through the course with you. I'm excited about the opportunities that the online is going to provide us, and also to learn about all the great work that you're all doing. So for the syllabus, that's it. And then what you want to do now is go ahead and take a look at the lecture notes, which will be posted shortly. Thank you.